Something that was supposed to be a peaceful event almost ended up tragic after DMX's eldest son, Xavier, lost his cool at his father's street naming ceremony.
Yonkers native DMX is receiving a posthumous honor from his hometown today. The corner of School Street and Brook Street in Yonkers is now called Earl DMX Simmons Way as a tribute to the rapper. DMX grew up in an apartment building on School Street. Next to the street sign is this large mural of DMX, who died in 2021.
Rest in peace to DMX, but a lot of people feel like he don't deserve a street named after him, especially since all he ever did was spit gangster raps about selling dope, doing dope, disrespecting women. He has some heartfelt songs, but he ain't never put out no Jesus Walks. They feel like he was contradictory because at his concerts, he has talk all that gangster talk, then ended with a prayer. But I feel like at least he put the prayer in there. You got rappers nowadays that talk crazy all day, every day, and don't even mention the Lord. Rest in peace to DMX. A lot of people feeling like his son is suffering from the same habits as his father. His father's sins is haunting him. People going so far to say that his son look like he's on crack. I don't believe those rumors. They're saying that his ex-wife was on crack. His other baby mama was on crack. I feel like they need to let this man rest in peace, because whatever he did during his life, he's living a better thereafter. Hopefully he went to heaven. I'm pretty sure he did, because he definitely went through hell down here on earth, dealing with rappers like Jay-Z, Ja Rule, Nas, Hype Williams. He was involved with Aaliyah. He had to witness what happened to her. Mary J. Blige from Yonkers, they saying she's smoking crack. I don't believe none of these rumors, but one thing for sure, his son did look disturbed.
Xavier and Jail.
Now, there is absolutely no way that you will close this ceremony, we will not hear from his original entire family. So, Mommy, please stand next to my side. Please. Please. Shawn. Praise. Tacoma. Come here. Come on. Listen. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We are here. Firstly, thank you to the entire city of Yonkers. Thank you to Mayor Spano. Thank you to Tasha Diaz. And thank you to Cherie. Without your groundwork, foot on the ground, none of this is possible. This is your vision. From reaching out to people on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, gathering up the signatures, making sure that everyone is on board to get this signed.
Firstborn.
Thank you. My heart is just so full seeing all the love that we have.
Take your time,
So
brother.
Desiree Lindstrom, you have behaved dishonorably. The fact that you continue to exclude his original family, his children, my mother.
Yo.
The fact that my mother and father built this empire from the ground up. Like this city loves us. We will always be remembered in this city. Now, thank you to the city of Yonkers. And thank you for being here today.
The man's leaving. Damn, man. Not here, not He was strong. Yeah.
That might go quick. Necessary.
How you doing?
That could have ended real badly. He's talking about DMX's original family, like they the KFC of DMX's family. He had new family, he had other family, he had over 15 kids with like 10 different women, so why was his son tripping? I'm starting to think that's the reason why they tried to leave him out of the ceremony. He too much like his dad. And ain't nothing wrong with that. That's his son. They're trying to honor DMX. Why wouldn't they want to honor his son? But if he get up there talking crazy, almost started a riot, I can understand why they ain't want him up there. Shout out to DMX's other family. I can only imagine how they felt. They probably felt terrible that he got on stage and said them things that he said. When his son grabbed the mic, they said tension spilled over into the public view. So that street about to have more violence than Dr. Luther King. It was born out of violence and chaos. Why would they want to do that to their father's legacy? But then again, they was conceived, I ain't gonna say with crack smoke, but they was conceived under ghetto conditions. So it's probably only natural that it be some drama tied into his name, tied into his legacy. I remember when DMX was in that pink jumpsuit in jail, he was looking like he never wanted to come home to his family.
Curious how a guy, you've sold how many records?
28 million.
And made millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
How do you end up in here?
I think everyone who's watching knows how I ended up in here.
I don't know if they do.
I'm pretty sure they do. Anytime you get it, I'm pretty sure they do. You know, there's how do I end up in here? I first came to Arizona, man, and I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, you know, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country. You know, because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil in God's country. You know, and it's not so much who, it's what, you know, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You know, you can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You know, you can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil. You know, and you know, it's through all these hardships that I realized that, you know what, this is God's country because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path. And it's by overcoming these obstacles that I realized that this is God's country. Because he helped me get over these obstacles. He helped me get over these hurdles.
Okay, so but when you're done here, when you're out of here,
I'm not looking back.
You're not coming back?
No, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back for a show. I'm not coming back for a visit. I'm not even driving through the states. If I'm in a plane and they're going to fly over it, I'm going to go around, okay?
When you think back on this whole thing,
Yeah.
what went wrong in Arizona? How did you end up getting in so much trouble here? Was there too much temptation here, or were
I actually
law
didn't get
enforcement
in.
was after you?
No, I didn't get in. I actually didn't get in any trouble. I was never arrested at the scene of any crime, or you know, the police came and arrested me for something. You know, it was always let's get an arrest warrant for this guy.
DMX ain't never denied anything that took place in his life. He was like an open book, and that's why so many people gravitated towards his music. He let it be known that he sold his soul before Kanye West had the balls to say that he was having relations with his own cousin. Nas was afraid of people like DMX because he knew that DMX's lyrics and his realness could rival everything that he ever put out. It seemed like a lot of people was interested in DMX losing his life when he lost his life, so his legacy wouldn't overshadow theirs. Now that he's gone and he got a street named after him, and his family bickering and fighting. They're still going through the court system to figure out who's going to get the money, and there's a whole lot of money involved. By now, his estate is probably worth more money than Michael Jackson's estate. And with 15 kids, it's going to be like the Hunger Games, the Squid Games. They need to bring back Def Jam Vendetta and put all the DMX kids in there so they could fight for their estate. I'm talking billions of dollars. All that music, all them platinum plaques he had, somebody's in control of that money, but it's not his family. And by the way his eldest son acting, he acting like he want all of that money. If you never heard DMX's story, I need y'all to listen to this.
Has officially the statement put out just a few moments ago. Some of the fans that have been gathering here at a memorial that was set up.
One night in April 2021, Earl Simmons, better known in the hip-hop community by the stage name Darkman X, or DMX, lay on his deathbed in a White Plains hospital, New York, surrounded by his close friends and family members who begged for the legendary rapper to pull through and attempted to revive the rapper. Much to the joy of the paramedics, they were able to revive his heart and feel a pulse, and they immediately rushed him to White Plains Hospital to give him emergency care to save his life. About 30 minutes later, DMX's family and the paramedics arrived at the hospital, where he was disturbingly pronounced brain dead. According to several reports, a narcotics overdose was suspected to be the cause of the heart attack, but at that point, the exact cause had not yet been officially confirmed. The next day, Murray Richmond, DMX's attorney of more than 25 years, announced that he did not yet know what the cause of the heart attack was, and that they were all very worried for the rapper's health.
Being in the hospital as a result of a heart attack. He has been taken off life support system and he's breathing on his own, but we are concerned. It would be disingenuous of me to suggest that I'm not a worried man at this particular point.
Worried about what? Getting all the DMX's money? This sounds like a Jerry Heller situation to me. He had way too much money tied up into his career, and I know a whole lot of people was trying to cash in. The same way Eazy-E's baby mama took over his estate is the same way DMX's baby mama took over his estate.
That night, Simmons suffered from cerebral hypoxia, a lack of oxygen to the brain. Although paramedics tried once again to resuscitate him, they were unsuccessful. Shortly after, Nakia Walker, DMX's former manager, stated that the rapper was in a vegetative state due to lung and brain failure. On Monday, April 5th, 2021, a vigil was held for DMX outside of the hospital where he was being treated. During the vigil, his family stated, "We ask that you please keep Earl and us in your thoughts, wishes, and prayers, as well as respect our privacy as we face these challenges."
And Charlene and Joe, this is the news that fans had been dreading all week, as DMX, who had been on life support, has officially statement put out just a few moments ago. Some of the fans that have been gathering here at a memorial that was set up, unaware of this news, they've been coming to sign messages of support throughout the week. And in fact, there was a prayer vigil held here earlier this week.
On Tuesday, April 6th, DMX fell into a coma and was subject to brain function tests to determine if anything could be done to bring him back. But unfortunately, his brain was irreparably damaged, and all that was left was for the family to decide when to disconnect him from life support. 3 days later, on the evening of Friday, April 9th, exactly 1 week after being hospitalized, DMX's closest family members and friends sat around his hospital bed, praying for a miracle. According to DJ Superior, a close friend of DMX who was present during his final hours, one of the rapper's uncles kneeled by the comatose artist and told him, "You don't gotta go yet." It was a heartbreaking scene, and one during which everyone present prayed that the iconic rapper would pull through. but later that evening, he was disconnected from life support and was no longer with us. After the tragic passing, a source from the Westchester County Medical Examiner's Office, which induced a heart attack that caused a lack of blood circulation to the rapper's brain. Shortly after, his family announced his passing in a statement saying, "Earl was a warrior who fought to the very end. He loved his family with all of his heart, and we cherish the times we spent with him." News of the rapper's passing spread quickly and sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Immediately, hundreds of famous rappers, artists, friends, and people close to DMX took to social media to share their condolences and express their support for the rapper's family. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of the incident was that DMX didn't have a will and had 15 children with multiple different women, one of whom was his fiancée, Desiree Lindstrom, who would inherit nothing from the late artist despite having spent 7 years of her life with him. The court case for the rapper's estate is ongoing to this day. On April 24th, a memorial was held for DMX in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. In preparation for the service, streets were closed to make way for the monster truck that would carry DMX's casket. A choir performed several songs at the ceremony, after which several of DMX's kids took to the stand to make heartfelt speeches in honor of the memory of their father. One of his sons, Xavier, who was 28 years old at the time, said, "Our father is a king. Our father is an icon. I am so honored to have a father like we have." After the memorial, which was attended by celebrities and artists such as Jay-Z, Beyonce, Fabulous, Swiss Beats, and the Rough Riders, DMX was laid to rest in the Oakland Cemetery in Yonkers, New York.
I don't know about y'all, but it sounded like a sacrifice to me. What was he doing when he was still alive? He was working on the album, had a whole lot of people on it. Who was going to pay them people? How was he going to get paid and everybody else get paid? The money was way too funny. It seemed like people had more interest in him being dead. You know what they say? A dead artist make more money than the artist that's alive. And now that they named the street after him, they better do weekly sweeps for crack houses. Dope fiends and things gonna find a safe haven on Earl Simmons Boulevard. His son might be asking for a free home since that street is named after his father. They might have to get houses for all of his kids. The whole block gonna be DMX's ancestors in there.
Despite Simmons' lifelong battle with weakness, it always seemed to fans that he would eventually find his way to peace, good health, and sobriety. Throughout his career, he had checked himself into becoming better multiple times, demonstrating his commitment to his long-term health. Just days before the heart attack that ultimately claimed his life, DMX uploaded a video to social media in which he could be seen dancing along to the Jackson 5's The Place Hotel in the car, and he seemed in very good spirits. Despite his abrupt and terrible passing, Darkman X has left an unparalleled legacy in the music industry, and his contributions to rap molded the very essence of hip-hop in the late 90s and early 2000s. Throughout his entire career, which spanned more than 3 decades, he came to embody the values he so boldly defended: honesty, authenticity, and raw passion, which he transmitted so powerfully by virtue of his gruff, unique voice. To this day, very few rappers have been able to achieve what DMX did. He's the only rapper to have his first 5 studio albums debut at #1, and he was the first living hip-hop artist to have 2 albums go platinum within the same year. Throughout his career, he sold over 74 million copies of his albums. From the very start of his career, it became clear that DMX would be an extremely successful artist. His 1998 debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, sold over 5 million copies. Over the next few years, he would go on to release some of the most influential albums and singles of the generation. In 1999, he released his critically acclaimed album, And then there was X, which included the hit single, Party Up, a track that has been streamed over 300 million times on Spotify as of 2023. His 2003 hit single, X Gon' Give It To You, remains his most famous song to this day, with close to 700 million streams on Spotify. At the time of his passing, DMX was working on a new album, which was just 2 songs from being completed. Had he had the time to release it, it would have been his first official album of new material since 2012. When talking about how excited he was about the fact that so many incredible artists, including Usher, Lil Wayne, even Bono of U2, were contributing to his comeback album, he said, "I'm almost overwhelmed by how people are not only excited by this project, but wanting to be a part of it. It's sad to know that he never got to enjoy his album's success, which he had worked so firm and solid for. However, the album Exodus was still released posthumously and achieved a respectable 32,000 sales in its first week. The project consisted of 13 tracks and had 21 collaborations across the whole project. Despite his professional successes, no tribute to Darkman X would be complete without remembering his personal and professional struggles. After all, Earl Simmons was a man of many contradictions, which was part of his allure as an artist. In the late 90s, DMX garnered as much media attention for his albums as he did for his infamous run-ins with the law, to which he faced charges ranges from animal cruelty to dope possession to carjacking. He would often rap about these incidents, which brought a layer of complexity to his lyrics that few other rappers have ever achieved. Although his passing was tragic, it's undeniable that DMX's music has continued to influence a new generation of rappers who have inspired themselves on his raw passion and honesty. In addition to his professional successes, Earl Simmons could be commemorated on a personal level for having the humility and strength to commit to his sobriety during his lifelong battle against his weakness, which ultimately claimed his life.
Rest in peace to DMX. We ain't had a better rapper since. We haven't been able to feel nobody like that since DMX. These young rappers, they voices too weak. They be whining and scratching and crying on their songs. We ain't heard a deep voice, baritone rapper since Biggie, DMX. We ain't heard nobody with no real bass in their voice for a long time. Maybe Gorilla Black, but he was trying to sound like Biggie. Shawn had something going on, but he was sounding like Biggie. And all the other rappers that was worth a damn, they sounded like Tupac Shakur. A lot of people said that DMX was swagger jacking Tupac, but if that's the case, and Ja Rule was swagger jacking DMX, that mean that DMX and Ja Rule was Tupac clones, but I feel like DMX was original. Rest in peace, my brother.